I wouldn't say this is my favourite project I've ever done. Not make you just think of autumn. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Josie and today we have got a good old-fashioned podcast episode for you. I have been doing quite a lot of knitting lately and quite a lot has been going on since the last time that I spoke with you. Also, since the last time I did a knitting podcast episode, I hit 10k subscribers here on the channel, which I'm very excited about. I have decided to celebrate by rebranding or basically just designing a new logo on Canva, and I'm going to be calling this podcast Josie Violet Knits. If you don't know, my first name is Josie, my middle name is Violet. So I just decided, probably not the most inventive podcast name in the world, is going to be called Josie Violet Knits. So welcome to Josie Violet Knits. If it's your first time here, I have been knitting since the beginning of January. I have been kind of sharing my journey with getting to grips with knitting here on this channel. I feel like I have learned so much. I can't believe it's actually only been since January that I've been knitting. I feel like I've been knitting for my whole life at this point. I have one finished project today, a couple of whips, and then I feel like I've been getting quite mentally prepared for autumn and winter knitting, and so I've been making a few purchases and we'll get into all of that in today's episode, so let's get into it. My first and only finished project for this episode is the June top, which is by Petite Knit. If you saw my previous episode, you'll know that I went on a bit of a summer top rampage. I think I could basically just realised that you can knit yourself summer tops, and once that realisation hit, I made the Soul top by Rose Knitwear, I made the Plot Twist Tank by Jamie Creates, and then I made this June top by Petite Knit, all within the space of a couple of months. This is knit in Sadness Garn Lena, in, I can't remember the shade, but it's their like butter yellowish shade, so I'll put that shade number on the screen if you're interested. And it's definitely quite butter yellow coloured. I feel like the colour, I don't know if it's maybe leaning slightly towards the cool end of the yellow spectrum for me. In some lights I think it really suits me, and then in others I'm not sure if it does, and I think it might be because it's not the warmest shade of yellow ever. It is quite cool, and I feel like I usually suit more warm tone colours. Either way, this was definitely a fun project. I feel like I learned a lot on this project. It is knit bottom up, and the round neckline is all made just with binding off, so you just bind off in a really specific way, and that just makes this really nice curved shape. It is slightly lower at the back. As with all things with Petite Knit, this was a very well written pattern, very easy to understand, and I didn't really have any issues with it. So Sadness Garn Lena is a linen cotton viscose blend, and I think for that reason it caused a few sort of, whenever there's something that goes slightly wrong, you can really notice it. Unlike with wool, where I feel like it kind of, you can hide your mistakes quite easily, if something goes wrong you can really notice it. In like, it's not very forgiving, basically you can't really hide anything, and I did have a slight issue when I joined a new ball of yarn. It went a bit weird. I don't know if it's really showing up on camera, but it basically just caused a little bump in the fabric, and I don't know if I'm just being a massive annoying perfectionist, but it's right at the front, like on the stomach at the front, and every time I wear it I notice it, and I don't know if there's anything I can do about it now. It was just when I joined a new ball of yarn, I think I tried to knit 2 stitches together for a while to kind of like weave it in without having to weave it in at the end, and for some reason it kind of just messed up, and I'm not really sure what happened, to be honest, but aside from that I am pretty happy with it. I feel like maybe I slightly rushed this one because I really wanted to get onto the whip that I'll talk about in a minute. So I don't know if it's necessarily my neatest work, to be honest. I think there's a bit of a lesson here to be learned on, like, you know, if you want to do a project, just kind of make sure that you have the brain space for it, and maybe just, if something's not right for right now, maybe don't just try and rush through it to get to the next thing. Maybe just put it on pause for a little bit. The other thing is the I-cord bind off. Now I've done I've done an I-cord bind off before, and I quite like the I-cord bind off usually. I feel like it's quicker than the Italian bind off, and I usually quite like it, but this was on quite small needles. I think it was going down to 3.5mm needles for the I-cord bind off, and with the linen cotton viscose blend, I feel like it was just really hard on my hands, and I found it a little bit tricky to kind of get into the rhythm of it. I found that when the yarn started splitting, it would cause like this little loop around the bind off. It's kind of hard to explain, but I've just found like a few times around the edge, I can just see these little loops, right, where I kind of didn't fully get the needle through when I was doing the bind off, and I tried really hard to avoid it, but like there was just so much binding off to do that I just couldn't really avoid it at certain points. So that's just another thing that is just not completely the neatest thing ever, and I don't know if I'm just being a perfectionist, and obviously with hand knitted things there's always going to be slight mistakes, but I do feel like with plant-based fibres especially, it is quite hard to hide your mistakes. So you have to be very, very, very meticulous and neat. And I don't think I was being as meticulous and neat as I could be with this project. All of that to say is I've been wearing this quite a lot. It's really nice to wear just underneath things. I usually just wear it with like, I've got this blue denim shirt that I really like to wear it with. I think it goes, the colours go really well with light blue. And so I've been wearing it out and about, and yeah, it's very comfy. I had already knit the sole top by Rose Knitwear in tin lean, so I felt like I had a good kind of knowledge of how this would wear. It's definitely still quite drapey and nice, like it really is quite flowy. I do think that tin lean held double is slightly more drapey and flowy than the leaner held single. I'm not quite sure why, and I think I've heard other people mention this. I do think it's true. It definitely is a little bit, it's still flowy, don't get me wrong, it's still drapey and nice, but I just feel like the yarn held double was a bit nicer. So yeah, overall, I wouldn't say this is my favourite project I've ever done, but I'm definitely still going to get a lot of wear out of it. Even if I'm just wearing it underneath other things, I feel like just having a staple vest top is quite handy to have. So yeah, I am happy that I got this one done, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite project in the world. But that is my finished object for the episode. Sorry to start us off with a bit of a meh, but let's get on to something very exciting, which I'm very excited to share with you. And that is the progress I have been making on my waffle loop sweater dress by Other Loops. I think last time I had a podcast, I hadn't even started this one, and I am quite far through this now. I have knit the yoke, I have knit the neckband, I've knit one sleeve. I'm currently sort of a third through my second sleeve, and I would say I'm probably about halfway down the body, or maybe I've got a bit more than half to go, because this is a sweater dress. I am intending to knit it quite long. I feel like a lot of sweaters that I've knit, including the one I'm currently wearing, which is the Lace Pullover by Azetta, most of the sweaters I've knit so far have been kind of a cropped length, and I do wear them a lot and they're very useful with high-waisted things, but there's been a few times where I've wished that I've had something a bit longer. Sometimes it's just nice to have something that is a bit longer, and you can wear it with leggings, you can wear it with more low-waisted trousers, and you can wear it with shorts and things like that. So I think that I'm going to knit this to the specified length. I say that, but I'm just basically going to knit until I run out of yarn, because I was having a few issues with my yarn on this. Because basically what happened was, so the yarn for this project is Isaga Alpaca 3 and Isaga Marilyn, which is a dream combination, by the way. Really, really lovely. But for some reason, and I don't even know how I did this, because I'm using the exact yarn recommended in the pattern, I didn't order enough of the Alpaca 3. I ordered like half of what I actually needed, and then I only realized that once I'd kind of gone through the yoke. So I tried ordering some more yarn from the same place that I got this original yarn from, but the problem was they didn't have the same dye lot in stock, which is like a nightmare because I'd already started on the yoke. And I think I had 6 balls. I don't know how I thought 6 balls would be enough to knit this massive sweater dress. But I basically needed like 14 balls. And so I ordered some more and it was the wrong dye lot and I was quite concerned. But then I was like, okay, don't panic. It does look very, very similar. And I knit the neckband with the dye lot that was the different dye lot to what I'd already been knitting. And you honestly can't tell. I don't know if it's the waffle pattern or if it's because it's an undyed shade maybe, but honestly it looks completely fine. So thank God I was able to order some more, and I now have, I think I now, the place that I got it from, they didn't have quite enough to fully complete, so then I had to get it from another place, but they only had the new dye lot as well. So luckily it wasn't 3 different dye lots because that would be quite risky. So I have 2 dye lots still, and I think I was able to get almost the right amount. I think I had 1 ball less than I needed technically, so I'm hoping I'll just about have enough. Maybe I'll do 1 repeat less than the original pattern, but I should hopefully still be quite long. I still have 4 balls left to do the body, so I think I should be fine. And I'm basically just going to keep knitting until I run out of yarn, which is why I've done the sleeves first, or I'm doing the sleeves first before I finish the body, because that would be a nightmare. Imagine binding off the whole body and then realizing you don't have enough for the sleeve. I couldn't deal with that, so I've just done the neckband and the sleeves, and then I'm going to just do the body and keep going. I also just love doing neckband and the sleeves first because it just gives you such a good view of what it's going to look like, and I find it really, really motivating. As soon as I put that neckband on, I've just been knitting on this obsessively, and I feel like that's what happened with this Lakes pullover as well. It's just such a good motivation to actually keep going because you can see what it's going to look like, and it feels way more like a real jumper once you've done that. This is my first ever cabled sweater, so I'm very, very proud and excited. I mean, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm very, very happy with myself. I honestly feel like cables are, I think a lot of people even do colour work before they do cables, and a lot of people think of cables as like this big scary thing that is like next level difficult, but I've done 1 colour work jumper and this is now my first cable jumper. I actually find cables easier. You don't have to deal with multiple balls of yarn. You're just using a cable needle and moving a few stitches around instead of having to like try and deal with knitting with 2 hands or whatever. For me personally, I find cables way easier than stranded colour work. So if you've been putting off knitting cables, but maybe you've even done stranded colour work, you can definitely do it. Like honestly, it's really not that hard. The only thing you have to bear in mind is whether the cable is twisting to the front or to the back. And as long as you get that right, you're fine. That is basically all you need to know. There was one time right at the beginning of when I started the cables at the front, I did twist one of them the wrong way at the front. I'll insert footage of what I did. I had to like drop down, fix the cable, and then knit back up through the drop stitches and twist the cables at the same time. There was a really, really good video tutorial that I followed. I'll put it down below in case you have any cable mishaps, because it saved my life, honestly. I feel like you can't really tell that I fixed it. Maybe I can tell. I know where it went wrong, but I don't think anyone else would really be able to tell. And yeah, I feel like it's a good skill to have when you're doing cables, to know how to fix them, because especially with something like this where it's like a really big cable section, once that's messed up, in my brain I would really notice that. And it was on the front as well, so it's not like it's even hidden away at the back. It was like right at the front, right where my face would be when I'm looking in the mirror. I would just see it all the time, so I just knew that I had to fix it. There's been a few things on this project that I have had to slightly redo, because I think because it's my first cable sweater, I want it to be perfect. So for example, when I was knitting the collar, there is this row of ribbing that goes down the shoulder, and when I first picked up the stitches for the neckband, it didn't line up. The ribbing on the neckband didn't line up with the ribbing on that was going down the shoulder, and it's such a minor detail, and it doesn't even mention in the pattern that you should try and do this. It was lining up on one side, but then it wasn't lining up on the other, and it was just annoying me. So I ripped it out and started again because I just wanted it to line up. I thought it looked way better lined up. And I'm very happy that I did. I mean, I don't think anyone would even notice, to be honest, but I noticed, and that's all that matters. The other thing that I had to redo, which was a bit of a faff, but I'm so glad that I did, was the sleeve. When I did the first sleeve, and I should have known this by looking at the pattern, the sleeves are huge, and I don't know why, I just kind of didn't really think about it when I purchased the pattern and started knitting it, of how big the sleeves were. It's something I definitely need to bear in mind, like, moving forward, because for me, I love cooking, I take my dog for a walk, I am quite like, you know, I wear my knits not just for nice occasions, I'm wearing them every day. I want them to be practical. I always wear them rolled up, as I'm currently doing, because I get hot quite easily. So for me personally, I feel like I need to be able to roll my sleeves up, and the sleeves for this pattern are too big. And so I was trying to add more decreases in when I knit it the first time around, but I think I started adding the extra decreases too late into the sleeve, and then it was like, it wasn't small enough. I was like putting my hand in the sleeve and being like, this is still way too big. So then I tried to add loads and loads of decreases right at the end, and it gave this really weird shape. I didn't even take a photo of it because it was just too weird, and I just wanted to unravel it. But it was like this, and then it went like that, like just right, like decreasing too quickly. So I frogged it. I didn't frog the whole sleeve, I just frogged back to where I knew that I wanted the extra decreases to start. And if any of you are knitting this pattern, I will put in my Ravelry notes for this project how I did the decreases to get the sleeve where it is. I'll quickly try this on so that you can see what it's looking like at the moment. As you can hopefully see, the decreases, I feel like the slope is more gentle now. It's still quite a baggy sleeve, and I kind of wanted to keep the bagginess because it is an oversized sweater and I want it to feel oversized. I just need to be able to roll my sleeves up, and I'm sure once I block it, this will loosen up a bit as well. So I don't think it will be quite as extremely in. It'll probably be more like this in the end, but I just need to be able to roll my sleeves up. And yes, the way that I did the decreases means that I now can roll the sleeve up, so I'm very happy with that. I feel like this is the first time I've properly modified a sleeve in this way, and because the waffle pattern is a 4-row repeat, it actually made it a lot easier to figure out, because I knew when on the 4-row repeat I was supposed to be doing the decreases. So I won't go into too much detail about exactly how it's done in the pattern, because obviously that's copyrighted information. But I guess I can say that in the pattern, you're decreasing every 4 repeats of the pattern. So I basically just I did the 4 as normal, and then I did 3, then I did 2, 2, 2, and then I did 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way down. So that just made it a lot faster of a decrease. And now as I'm doing the second sleeve, I put stitch markers in every time I did one of those decreases, which has been a lifesaver. I'm always going to do this now whenever I decrease for the sleeves, because I can just so easily count what I did and see what I did. And the waffle pattern makes it so easy to do that, because you can just easily see what's going on. I feel like sometimes with sleeves I'm counting rows and I'm like unsure or a bit uncertain if I've counted them properly, but with this waffle pattern, because you're counting a chunk of 4, it's just so much easier to count. So I know that I'm going to have perfect sleeves. Well, I won't speak too soon because I haven't actually finished the second sleeve yet, but I'm pretty confident that the sleeves will be exactly the same, and that makes me very happy, because a few of my jumpers, one sleeve is longer than the other. I feel like that's happened with almost every jumper that I've made, but with this one I'm pretty confident I'm not going to have that issue. So I keep just putting it on and it's just so cozy. The waffle stitch is such a squishy fabric and it's so nice and cozy. It's still quite warm here, so it's not even the right weather to be wearing this, but sometimes when I finish knitting or when I get tired of knitting, I just put it on. And I feel like that is a sign of a good project when you just literally don't want to take it off your body. I feel like I am going to wear this to absolute death this winter. I'm so excited. At the moment the sleeve is potentially, I would say that's a bit too short for me, but apparently waffle stitch grows a bit more than stockinette because it is that texture. So I have a feeling this is going to grow and become even more oversized when I block it. So I'm just bearing that in mind. I want it to be huge. I want it to be the world's biggest jumper. I mean, not like a tent, but I want it to be big. And obviously the cables will relax with blocking as well. I have gotten to grips with this little pattern here. I feel like when I first started, I was constantly checking the chart and I was thinking, oh, is it front or back? Have I got it the right way around? And I was like obsessively reading the chart. Now that I've done quite a few repeats of this, I can pretty much just do it without looking, because once you've established the cables, it's a lot easier to tell if you're doing it right or not. So that's great. It's so much more fun and quick when you don't have to keep constantly looking at the chart. So yeah, that is my waffle loop sweater dress. I feel like next time I do a podcast, this will potentially be done. Oh, I didn't mention this is on 6mm needles, so I think that is helping speed it along quite a bit, even though it's obviously quite a large item. I think because it's on 6mm, it is coming along quite quickly, and I'm just so excited to wear it that I am like obsessively knitting on this. So I feel like it's going to come along quite soon, probably I feel like just as autumn comes along, it should be ready, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. And just a very quick update on my other whip, which has been kind of sadly forgotten slightly. I have been knitting on it when I go to knit clubs and meetups and things, because it is quite easy to just knit, because I'm just currently knitting flat back and forth. This is my Maggie cardigan by Petite Knit, which I am knitting in Cardiff Cashmere Classic. I have gotten a little bit further down the body. You can see it's a little bit crumpled because I haven't been working on it that much, because I've been mainly focusing on the waffle loop sweater dress. But I have got a bit further down the body. It's on 3.5mm needles, so this is taking quite a long time. It's also knit flat, so there's big sections where you're just doing purl stitches. So it's not coming along that quickly. Once I've done the waffle loop sweater dress, I'm going to knit the sleeves, because I think that will motivate me to keep going on this, and it feels so soft and so nice. I do really want this to be done so I can wear it in autumn. But that's my very brief update on this whip. I haven't got much further, but it is still coming along. I'm gonna get there. Once I finish the waffle loop sweater dress, this is gonna be my focus. So let's get on to my plans for autumn and winter. And I've let myself have a little bit of fun with ordering some yarn, and I do feel like I needed some things for upcoming projects that I want to do. I've been putting quite a lot of projects into my queue, so I made a few orders of some very exciting things. The first one is something I mentioned at the end of the last episode of the podcast, and that is something to knit Kika's seashore skirt. And there was something holding me back about it, and it was until I saw the long version I knew I had to knit it. Also, people keep telling me that I'm pronouncing Kika wrong, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to call her Kika, because I feel like that is what she likes to be called. So Kika posted some photos and videos of her wearing a long brown version of the seashore skirt with Birkenstock Bostons, which are my favourite shoes that I wear every single day. I wear them literally, you cannot get them off my feet. They're pretty much the only shoe that I wear. So when I saw her wearing the skirt with the Bostons and it looked so good, I was like, okay, I just need to do this. And the brown, I was loving the brown. So I've made a knitting for Olive order. And this is what I'm doing. I ordered the pure silk in the colour copper, and I'm going to be knitting the skirt. Now, I've been wanting to knit something in lace for quite a while, and this is potentially not a beginner lace project, but I don't know, because there is a video tutorial, and I do feel like Kika kind of explains everything really well, and I feel confident that even though this is my first lace project, I'll be able to do it. I did knit like half of a gauge swatch for this to kind of just practice doing the lace, but I tried to do it in the round, and I was watching one of those videos where you basically, when you're doing the swatch in the round, you pull the yarn to the back and move. It's hard to explain, but you can knit in the round by pulling the yarn to the back and flipping the swatch down the other end of your needles, and you basically measure a length of the yarn and then knit with that. And then it's very hard to explain, but it was annoying me and I didn't like it because there was all these messy bits on the end of the swatch, and it was annoying me, and it was just messy, and I felt like I had used the swatch I didn't even take a photo of this swatch. I don't know why I keep doing this. I keep doing things and not recording them. But I practiced the lace and it looked really good, but I was just getting annoyed with the swatch, and I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to risk it. So I'm going to do it without a gauge swatch. I'm quite keen to just get going with it. I know that's a bit bad, and I probably shouldn't do that, but also the waistband has elastic with it, so I feel like that will help with the fit anyway. I'm just going to take the risk, and I'm going to try it on quite early on just to check that it seems to be the right size. And so yeah, I'm very excited. It was fun to practice doing the lace, and I was following the video tutorial as I was doing the swatch. It's basically just done with yarn overs and decreases and knitting through the back loop, which are all things I know how to do. So I think as long as I'm following the chart well enough, I think it should be okay. And with the long version, this fan kind of effect is just repeated a lot of times. So I think by the time I've done all of that, which will take ages, I should be comfortable to do the rest of it and have like had enough practice with doing the lace. And I think since I've been doing the waffle loop sweater dress, I feel like I've got more confidence in trying maybe slightly more advanced techniques, and just, you know, giving them a go. And usually you can find information of what to do if you mess up. So I'm gonna give it a go. It's kind of a weird project to be doing for the winter, I guess, or the autumn. I feel like the colour is very autumny, and I think if I'm wearing so many big chunky jumpers, I think having a skirt is kind of nice to like cool you down a little bit. And also you can wear like a slip underneath. Obviously with a lace skirt you kind of need to wear a slip underneath anyway, so I feel like I'm not going to be cold. I think it's almost kind of the perfect thing to be wearing in the autumn when you're going through the transitional seasons. And then obviously if you get really cold, you can just put tights on underneath or something. I think with this, I want to knit it quite long. I don't want it to be too midi. I feel like when things hit kind of on a weird point on the bottom half of my leg, I feel like sometimes it looks a bit weird. So I'm going to try and make it relatively long. The only thing that I had a slight concern about, and obviously no one else has knit the long version yet, so I don't know if this is true, but because it doesn't have any sort of slit in the back, my slight concern is that when you walk, it might almost restrict your stride a little bit, and that would annoy me. So that is the only thing I'm a bit concerned about. And I couldn't really tell in the video of Kika walking in her skirt if that was happening or not. So that's my only slight concern. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that or knowledge of things like that when it comes to skirts, because if it was like a wool skirt it would be fine because it would be flexible, but obviously this silk is quite inflexible. So that is my only slight concern, because I did have a skirt once that didn't have a slit at the back and it was really annoying to walk in. So that is my only slight question mark around that, but I guess I'll just have to find out, and if it becomes very annoying I'll just have to wear it in a place where I'm not taking big strides and walking around loads. But hopefully Curtivy Kika has thought of that in her design, but we will see. I have ordered something else from Knitting with Olive as well. I've been wanting to knit something else from the Rose Knitwear book, and I really love the Upstream sweater. So I got some heavy merino in the shade Dusty Artichoke, which I love this shade. It's like a dusty faded sort of green. I'd say like a powdery eucalyptus green. It's not a very bright colour, but I like that. I think it will be really wearable with lots of different things. I love the design of this, and I really want to do another raglan. I think I actually do really like the shape of raglans on me, so I want to do another one because I've been doing a lot of drop shoulder things. It has a 2x2 ribbing on the neck and around the bottom of the body and the sleeves, and the pattern kind of flows really nicely into the neckline. I think it's so well designed, so smart, and I just really love the design. So I'm going to be doing that at some point with this heavy merino. I think that's going to be more a winter thing. I'm not going to be doing this for a while, but I just, as I was doing my knitting for Olive Order, I thought I might as well get the yarn for it as well. And also, look how good those colours look together. Does that not make you just think of autumn? I feel like that is like such a good combination, and I'm excited to wear those two things together. I'm also excited just to go back on the skirt. Imagine this skirt with the waffle loop sweater dress over the top. How good would that be? Everything that I'm thinking about making at the moment, I'm always thinking about like what things I can wear it with, and ideally things that I've already knit, what would go with what. So it is exciting to have a skirt, because then I can obviously have a whole outfit of knitted things, which will be very fun. And then I did another order, and I'm trying hard not to feel guilty about ordering all this yarn, because I have clear projects in mind for everything that I have ordered, and I like to have yarn and projects in my queue where I know that as soon as I finish one project I can just pick up the next one. That just makes me feel very motivated to keep going, because I know that I have something exciting to come next, so I'm not feeling guilty about that. So I have ordered Albertine by Derera Natura. This is a fingering weight yarn. It is 90% wool and 10% silk. It is so soft. It has this, the silk just adds this little bit of sheen to it, which is so nice. And what I'm going to be making with this is the Super Basic Tee by O Water Knit. I have been really obsessed with O Water Knit's designs. They're very, very simple. They look very sort of like you bought them from a store, but in a good way. And I really, really love her basic tees, and the colour is Candide. I would say it's kind of beige or white or pink. I'm not really sure. It's somewhere in between all of those things. I'd say probably more pink than anything, but it is just such a nice basic colour, and I think it's going to make the best. I just wanted a basic white t-shirt that looks really, really expensive and nice, and obviously with a white t-shirt you're going to wear it all the time. I do have a white t-shirt that I used to wear all the time, and I spilt something on it and I can't get it off, and I've tried. It's really annoying me because I feel like I now have a gap in my wardrobe of a really nice plain white t-shirt. I have lots of white t-shirts, but this one was like my special one, so I feel like I need a new special white t-shirt, and that is going to be knit in this Albertine. And I feel like because it's merino, it is going to be more of like a warm t-shirt. It's not going to be necessarily a summer t-shirt. I think that's kind of good, because as we're heading into autumn and winter, I would like to just be able to wear a t-shirt and not have to keep wearing sort of bulky layers all the time, because I do get quite hot when I'm walking. But to have like just a merino layer, I think would be really nice to just keep you a bit warm, but then you don't have to wear, maybe you don't have to wear as much over the top if you're just wearing like a cotton t-shirt, because it is going to keep you a little bit warm. And it's fingering weight, and it's on very small needles, so it will still be quite thin and breathable, and I think I can still wear it when it's a little bit warm, when the weather's a little bit warmer, as well as it is obviously a t-shirt. As soon as I got this yarn, I just had to knit off a swatch, and it is so soft, and you can see how small the needles are. From a distance you couldn't even tell that it's hand knit. Honestly, it just looks like a really nice piece of fabric basically. So I'm very excited about this as well. that is everything I had to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you're knitting on at the moment, and if you've got any plans for autumn winter knitting, I would love to hear it. And hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!